Okay. So I think today we are going to look at the hover effect and then the transitions. Because last Friday we looked at the media queries, and then today let's continue with the hover effect and transitions. So today, as I said, we are going to look at the hover effect and then the transition. These are just a smaller, properties that they are used in a lot of web design. You understand? There are a lot of properties that are used. So if even I hover here, you see what happened here. You see what is happening here.
Hmm.
You see. So if I come closer, that is hover. You see there is the background changes. You understand? You see all of them, some of the background change. And when I come here, you see this sign. You see the color changes to dark
That's the
green.
hover.
That is the hover. So it's not something difficult. I've showed you before, but maybe because I've not taught you this how it works. And so that is all hover. See. So it depends on how you want the hover to be done. So let's dive in. So here they
Hmm.
give you example. And before I even dive to this hover effect, the hover effect is also part of this what we call pseudo-class. You understand? We have
Hmm.
different class. We have like pseudo-class, and then we have pseudo elements. You understand? I don't want to go through that, but when we are finishing the project or the course, I'll try to select some important word element or some important properties that we've not covered that I think it will be important during your design. You understand? Because there are some properties that at least you need to know them in web design, but there are some which if you want it, you might need it, but some of them are just like it depends on how you want the design to look like. Maybe some client they want a fancy website. They want every places to be like to look different. When you click on something, it will behave in different way. It will be animate. You understand? So it depends on the clients, but normally we just need to make your web design simple. So the hover effect we have it is part of the pseudo class. You understand? So pseudo class, this is like part of the CSS. So for instance, if I'm going to give an example, let me see if I've opened. Yeah, I've opened this. So let's bring our boilerplate. I say CSS over effects. It's just a simple this thing that I need to show you. For instance, if I have, let's say I have H1, I'll use H1 for you and say hello. Maybe I'll say hello Suraya, right? And then let's look at it. Show you. Oh, okay. And then maybe I can bring a paragraph and say Lauren, right? Then I have a paragraph here, right? Right. So what do I have? I can also have a link and say HTTPS google.com and I say Google. So okay. So this all what it is all part of HTML, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So let's see, can we achieve our hover effect? So now I want to do the internal CSS. Let me just put internal CSS, right? Okay. So let's see if we can do some. Let's see, we are going to target the H1. You see H1. right? So what do you want for the H1 to do? We want to change the color of the, maybe the background color. Say background color. This is a simple thing that we normally do. We say we want it to be blue. So we have background color, which is blue. And then the main color of it will be white, right? Okay. Main color is white, right? So this is what we have. Okay. Right. So let's apply something to the paragraph, or maybe, okay. So when we talk about hover effects, now, what have we achieved? We have something like this. Let me also have a div around there. Maybe a div could be better, but then no problem. I think this one could also be good. So I think I will just show you one by one so that it wouldn't confuse you. We have H1, which we targeted here, right? Okay. So now we want to apply our hover effect. Well, how can we apply our hover effect? First of all, you look at the what? The selector. What is the selector? This is the selector, and then we have our hover effect. So normally the definition is simple, right? The pseudo classes. What are the pseudo classes? So you can just say they are some keyword. Maybe you can say pseudo class is a what keyword or keywords what keyword with a semicolon that are added after a selector, right? So that are added after a selector. So here we are talking about something like we are talking about keyword, and we are talking about semicolon, this semicolon, and we talk about what selector. So we have three things now here. First of all, keyword, semicolon, and selector. So normally what comes first is what? The selector, right? Because when we are talking about CSS selectors, we look at the element, right? So here the selector is this. So we say selector, and then we bring what? Semicolon, and then we bring the keyword. Which keyword? Hover. We are dealing with hover. So we have different. Sometimes we can have what we call active, right? It's also a part. Sometimes we can have little link, something like this. We have active, we have hover. I understand. We have a lot of them, but since we are dealing with hover, so I'll write hover here, right? And then you bring your curly bracket there, right? And then now you put all your what? All these things. I mean the um, properties and the values. I hope you understand. So pseudo class is a keyword. Which is a keyword here? This hover. So we have different keywords. As I told you, we have different keywords. Keywords like so keywords like example, like we have the hover, it's a keyword. We have active, it's also a keyword. You understand? So we have a lot of them. So if you see here, we have keyword, which is here, hover, active, and a lot of them. And the selector is this one, which is the H1 here. If we are selecting body, our body will become the selector. If you have another element which is A, so A is our now become our selector if you are going to target this, right? So that is what the pseudo class is in a short. You understand? So the hover means that this is the key way to make it hover. To when you hover, it will change somewhat. It will change its state. So far as, for instance, each state is now, it has what? This H1 state has a what? Background color of blue, and then the color, the test color of what? White, which is here, right? So when we are going to apply the hover effect, we come down. First of all, what do we need? What do we need? We say we need selector, right? So selector. Selector is what? Which one are we targeting? The same H1, right? So we write H1, H1, right? H1. Now we've gotten our selector, right? And what next? Semicolon, a colon, right? We bring our colon, and then we bring the what? The keyword, which is hover, right? Hover. And we'll bring our curly brackets, right? Then we now write whatever we want to apply when we hover onto this element, right? So now it is up to us to change things that we have already have here. So here we have the background color blue, and then the color is, the text color is white. So now we can copy the same thing inside here, inside the hover effect, but then change the color, right? Because if now we make it the same, they are all going to be the same when we hover onto it. But when we hover onto it, because the initial color of H1 is this. But when we apply the hover using the pseudo-class, now we can change this color, and we say now we don't want blue, we want it to be red, right? And then the text color, maybe we want the text color to be blue now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now when we look at it, what happened? Right? You see what happened? We are going inside there. It means that this hover is our keyword, right? So we are saying that hover onto H1 and then give us this. I hope you understand.
Mm.
It is very easy. We are saying hover on H1 and give us this color. The initial color of the H1 was this.
So the
Background is
moment you
blue.
you move your cursor there, it will change the color.
Yeah, that is what hover is. You are highlighting something, you are hovering on. So for instance, if I come on top of this, nothing changes because we didn't apply anything,
Yeah.
right? But if immediately I come onto this, you see what happened, right?
Mm.
Because the initial state is that its background color is blue and the text color is white. So when I put hover effects and I change the background color, because you see here there is what? Background color and color. Here the same to background color and color, but the color changes, difference, right? So you see
Yeah.
that maybe you can say that all these things they are written the same way. The difference is that we only added this one, this column, and we added the keyword which is over, and then we change whatever we normally write inside so that it will different from this. So that when you hover, we see that it changes. So that is the simplest of hover. It has a lot of different you can apply. This one we are applying it on the H1. We can also apply it to what? To a button. So the similar way they did here. You see here when you hover onto, you see something changes, right? Right?
Yeah.
We can also apply, we can also do the same thing. How? We come into our website and see which element is this button, right? We come here
Mm.
and say, okay, the element that they used was button. So maybe I can see a button. And what do I want to put in the button. Maybe I can write previous, right? I can write previous. Let me delete this. I can write previous and then add another button again below it. So now I have two buttons. You see, buttons are arranged in what? They are in line. You see?
Mm.
So here as I write next, right?
Yeah.
So now I can just add what if because they are button, if I add my CSS, it will target both of the button, right? So if I want them to be different, I can add class to change to target different classes, right?
Mm.
So I can say class and give it a name. This is previous, and I say maybe the name should be prev in short form. And this one I can give it a class and say the name should be next, right? So now I can target this class in my CSS. So I can just copy prev and come here and say dot what prev. So I'm now targeting only the previous this, right? Then I can see what should I add? Background color, blue, right? Then I see color, white, right? Then I can add what? Padding to all the side, maybe 10, right? Then to make it round, I can add what? Border radius, maybe 10, right? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now since we've achieved this, we can just copy the same thing. Look, it's not difficult. We can copy the same thing, right? We come down, paste it here, and then what? We want hover, right? We can come here and add column and say hover. Simple, right? Then, now if you come here, nothing changed because all the properties inside here is the same as all the properties inside here. So when you hover it, nothing happens, right? But if you want
Yeah.
the color to change it, you changes the color and the properties in the hover side, right? So what can we change? We can change the color to be maybe green, right?
Mm.
Or maybe let me write it in normal green so that maybe green, right? And then the text color, maybe I can leave it white, right? Or
Yeah.
should I change it?
Mm. White is okay.
So now if I want the padding to be more than the first one, I can increase it, right? Let's say
Mm.
20, right? And I can leave the border radius as like that, right? So now the difference is that this one, the initial state is this, which we are seeing, right? That when we
Yeah.
hover, when we put our mouse on top of it, we are saying that we want the background color to be green, and we want the text to be white, and we want now the pattern should be what to bigger, which is 20 pixels. Because initially it was what 10 pixels, but when you hover onto it, it will be bigger, which is going to be 20 pixels, and then border radius remain the same. So let's see what will happen. Look at,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
See like that. Hmm? See? So that is normally what we can also do. You see. But if you don't want the padding to be bigger, you can just leave the padding as it was, which is 10, so that it only changes the background color. You see. You understand? So that is how normally we achieve that. And the same thing, they use what? They use green. You can also make the first initial to be green, right? So normally what we normally do is that if you want to make it very good, to all both of them should have the same color, but that color will be what? Will be a light different. You can say you want the initial to be green, right? So you hover onto it. Instead of leaving it to the RGB, you can click on it to get HSL, right? Go at the top here and just click on it. Now it is, you see, it is RGB. I understand. So now you click on it, it will give you what? A hexadecimal code, right?
Mm,
You
yeah.
click on it, it will give you HSL. And we talk about it before. We see H stand for hue, S stand for saturation, and L stand for lightness, right? So now you have all this what? First, hue is 120, saturation is 100%, and the lightness is 25%, right? So now you have it here. This is the first one. So you can copy the same thing, right? You can copy the same image, same color, and come to the hover section and put it the same color. So now what you just need because now if you hover until you see that it's the same color, so nothing changes. You don't see a difference, right? So if you want to see the difference, you can just come and reduce this. Maybe if it is 25, you can make it, let's say, 20. You see that it's now what? It has now different color or the same color, but it has what? Deepen. So when you hover onto it, you see that now it's the same color, but what changes? You understand, right?
Yeah.
So if this is the trick that we normally use to have the same color, you see that it's the same green color,
It's the
but we
same
just
green
change
color, but
the lightness
because of the
differ.
lightness that you change a little.
So when you hover onto, you see that you have some lightness, you
Mm,
see. So this is the same thing that you are used to get something like this. You understand?
mm,
Mhm. So let's say we are going to also target this second one. So let me see if you can guide me through. So what should I do first?
if I want
Mhm.
to achieve the hover, you mean?
The hover effect for the second one, the next. So what should I do?
Uh, we write dot next.
Dot next. Okay.
Then we write the hover.
Should I write over or should I give it? I have to first give it what? Or you just want to directly
Okay.
apply hover?
Okay,
If you want that one, you can also do it. It depends on you.
okay, we can do the first one.
Okay. So now what else?
Background color.
Not necessarily background color. You can use any property that you want. So which color should I put?
Uh, okay, we can use brown.
You can use brown. Okay. Okay. Any property again? Or it's okay.
Color. We can use color.
Don't copy my own. Give me yours. I'll copy mine. Okay.
uh,
Color is what?
we can use beige.
Color is beige. Okay.
Uh,
And then what again?
then we can use padding.
Hmm. Use padding.
See, I'm not copying yours. I'm just
Okay. Use
okay. We can.
padding.
Uh, I
Okay, what
can give
about
maybe.
padding? What do you think? Should you apply all of the padding? So tell me, which padding should we add? Top padding, bottom, left, right,
We should
or
apply for all.
for all?
Yeah.
Okay. Apply for all.
I
What
think
about
maybe,
now?
but
What about now? I want the top and bottom to be different and the left and right to be different.
okay, then we can maybe use for the top, maybe let's say
But padding,
five
padding is
percent.
also shorthand. Padding is also shorthand. So just give me the values.
Okay, 5%. 5 pixels.
5 pixels. Okay, my top and down. Right?
Uh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, three. 3 pixels.
3 pixels for left and right.
Yeah.
It's very small. So this is how you
I don't
want it.
want to look like yours, maybe big. Just I'm
Hmm.
trying to do my Okay,
Okay,
let's
so you
say
want it
10.
this way.
Okay, let's say
Okay.
10. Oh, okay.
Okay. So what next?
Then border radius.
Other radius. How much?
I want it to be 15
Okay.
pixels.
50 this way or 50 pixels.
Uh, 50 is too. Okay, let's do it 150 and see
One is
how it.
150. Because 50, it's like from 50 is the large, which make it round, right? So
50
if you
is the
don't want to
large.
make it, yeah, if you want to make it round, you make it 50 so that it will be round, right?
Okay,
Right.
then
But
30
if
is
you just want
okay.
to make it small, you can make it maybe because no, most of this one we it depends on you, but the value that normally we can use to be better to make it look nice, like you can start from let's say 5, 8, 10, or some go to like 15 is okay. That ranges, it look nicer. But if you go beyond that, it will look like it's going to be like a circle.
Hmm.
You understand? So you are looking at the curve here, the edges here. You want it to be curved. So sometimes, like maybe we see, if you say 8, you see how it is, right?
Hmm.
So with that range, maybe 8, 10, 15, right? You see how it is. So in that range is normal. If you go beyond that, going to like maybe 25 going, you see that it tend to be trying to be circle. Understand? So normally, if you just want it to be like simple, 10 pixels. Okay. Well, now we have achieved that. So we want to have the hover effect. What can we do now?
We can write dot next.
Dot next. Okay.
We can write hover.
Hover just like that. So if I don't
No, you
hover,
you need to
um,
bring the
what?
you, the question. The question.
What?
Like the two dots.
Two dot. What is the name of that two dot?
And uh,
Hmm?
semicolon. What?
Semicolon is this.
Uh,
Semicolon is this.
column.
Okay, column. Right. Okay. You see that immediately I even give one what I give the column, you see that it give me the options for so these are those with two what column are what we call pseudo elements, right?
Mm.
But those with one column are what we call pseudo class. So these are the one you see blank, checked, current is all of them are what pseudo class. You see them focus. So hover, you see hover is here. You see here. So they have a lot, and all of them has their own one different. So when you hover on it, so when I click on hover, and then so now what do we want to be different when we hover on this?
Mm. Now we can. Also, if you want to give it a background color or something like that, if we
Okay.
hover it, it can be affected by that. So maybe let's say um I can use white, maybe white color.
Okay. Then.
So the color
Mm-hmm. The color is what?
uh maybe black.
Okay, that's nice. And what again? Anything else?
I think we can leave it like okay.
Okay.
We, we can choose to leave
Mm.
it like that, or maybe we can add another padding or border radius, right?
No, that one is for now it's not needed because you are looking at what you want it to change. You
Mm,
understand? If your mind is to change the what the border radius to be bigger and padding to bigger, then you can apply that. But if you just want to change the background color, you can leave it this way. You
mm,
understand? But if you change this padding and border, then you make sure that you are assuming that when you hover it, either the button will be smaller or will be bigger,
mm,
right? So for instance, if you add now if you hover onto it, we have our what? Our hover what? So we are now applying both background and color, which is this one. too. So you see that the padding and the body radius nothing change. It remained the same as it was here, right? But immediately you add padding and you change the padding, let's say this one to be 10, this one to be 20, you are increasing them. And then maybe you can leave this border radius, or you can change it to also 20, for example. So immediately you've done that, now this one will grow because it is now going to be bigger because initially it was smaller, right? Now
mm,
because you change this, and then if I do this, you see now it is grown. You understand now,
mm,
right? So mostly we don't need to have something like this to grow in this manner, right? Sometimes even if we want it to be smaller. Just like if this one is 5, maybe you can say this one should be 6, right? And this one should be, if it is maybe 11, right? This one should also maintain the same because we don't, or we can just leave it, remove it because we don't want it to change. Then if you hover onto it, you see that we have a smaller, like, you see, it just what changes bigger, just a little bit. You understand? So it make it look nicer so that the person will know, now I'm just on it. And so it become a little bigger. So that is normally what you see here. So there are a lot of things that you can even change this. We can even add the border. Look at which one, border button. Maybe, let's see, the border button is 10. What happens? You look at the button. You see, it's like it is going inside. It is hiding, right?
yeah.
Mhm. So all the time, it depends on how you want it to look. So you can add. So normally, or basically, that is what a hover effect does. Can apply
Okay.
here, 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 right? You can even apply it to the body, but you normally look at which is the best practical way to apply it. You understand? And then Based on that, we can apply it there. And normally, it's normally used to apply onto buttons.
Mm.
Understand? Like in a website like this, see, button like this. You see here. So that is what it's normally used to apply to. So let's look at, for example, look at this. They do it as a link. Like, so you can also do the same thing and you use a link on it. So here, if you come down here and say you want to have a link, and that link should go to what? Google.com, http, google.com, and then we see Google, right? So these are Google. Now, we can target the A here. You see, you are targeting the A. Normally, link has a blue color and another underline. So you can remove that if you want. So if you want to remove that, what do we normally do? We apply what?
Text decoration.
Text decoration, and then we say none, right?
Mm.
Now it is gone, right? So the underline now is what? It's gone. We don't need it now. So if you want to make it sound nicer, you see that when you come here, nothing comes. So now here we set it to none, right? So now if you want it to look nicer, you can come and say E, and we say hover, and now we can bring that text decoration to what? We can just say text decoration, and then now since it is none, right? Now we can
Yeah.
give it as what? The one we want to be here. We can say underline, right? Or
Yeah.
line through. We can say normally it is underline, so we can say underline. So now look at, initially, it is not there. But when someone go through the link as if it's going to click on it, then bring
It will
that
come.
what? Underline. Then I'll come here and see.
Mm.
Understand. So that is normally also a good way to use the hover effect. If sometimes you go to a website and you go to, when you reach there, it's now a link. You can click on it. So normally this underline tells the person that this is a link. So the person can click on it.
Mm.
You understand? We can even change it and say you want overline. So when you come here, you see it is up, over. Or you can change it to maybe you want line through. Line through means the line should go inside the text.
Mm.
And so all of this can apply. You can add font size to bigger, maybe 30 pixels. So both the line through is there and the font size is bigger. So when I come close, you see,
Mm.
right? So all of this can be used depending on what you want to achieve. The same thing applies to a div or a box, as we normally do. You can say if you have a box, you have a div, right? In a div is, let's say, a box, maybe I'll write box inside. Then I'll target this box, which is the div, and I come here and say, I'll target the div and apply what? The width to be 800 pixels, and the height to be 100 pixels, right? And then what should I do? And I say background color. Maybe I want green. You see the box now, right? No, what else? You want to see the text to be, so the color will what? It will be white, right? So this is what I have. So now when I hover, nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what? I can just see text align, then center, right? So you see that it's centered only this horizontally. But if you want this box or this thing to come in the middle, right? What should we have done? We should can apply flex, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So even if you don't want, we can just make this as let's say the inside one, this box which is inside. We can just say P and just write the box now. The same thing. I would just want the P to be inside so that div is the parent. So that this P is the part, the child. So now you can come in and say, okay, we are applying all this. Now we want when we hover on the box, we want this to come in the middle, right? Here it was in the top center. You can come here and see what do we need. We can apply on the div, the same thing and see hover, right? So when we hover
Yeah.
onto it, you can say we just want to maintain all of this, the background, everything. Maybe you can change the background to be different, maybe blue. Background color, we say blue, right? Then we want to apply flex. You can see display flex. So now this box, when you hover, it will turn into flex. And we want there just file content center, meaning we want the text to go to center horizontally, and we want it to be centered vertically. So we'll apply align items also to center, right? So now we are telling the text now, when you hover onto the box, that text should go in the middle with this. And the background should change to blue, right? So let's see what happens,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes you go to the website and you see, sometimes when you hover onto something and you see something changes, it's similar way. You see. Mhm. So that is all about the hover effect. This is the example that I give you. Same thing. There's nothing new. You see, when I hover, you see something change. You see, it become bigger, right? So this the same thing. Well, these are the definition. You see, the CSS Hover pseudo-class is used to select element when you mouse over them. When you put your mouse on that thing. The hover pseudo-class can be used on all elements, not only on links. So you can use it on all the elements, that the P element, the link element, the div, the select the sections, the aside, the footer, all the elements you can use it. What you can use hover pseudo-class on it. And sometimes you can also use this link. This also at another word, pseudo class, right? This when you see what dot a column link, it might mean it is what a pseudo class. And this one is also pseudo class. Visited to it's also what a pseudo class, right? So this the link you use to start the link to unvisited page. So for instance, if you have a link which you didn't click it will normally it is a link. But when you visited the link, that pseudo class is this visited. So it's used to start the link to visited pages, right? And then there's what we call active, and then to start the active link. You understand? So mostly these things are normally used. Mostly this hover must come after this. You understand? So when you want that effect to apply, normally it has to follow the steps, like hover should come first before this link comes, and then this visit comes if they are present in your CSS. So not all the way, or always you have to remember this. This has to come first if you want to use this link pseudo class and this. So these are there, or the browser that can support these hover effects. Is the syntax, as I told you, that this is the way it's written. Then here is where you declare your CSS, and this part, the pseudo class. So this is how it is applied, as I told you. So you remember this kind of selectors. Can you think about, remember what we did? What type of selectors are these?
This one is this thing.
As I told you, if I have comma on a lot of them, they
Yeah,
have their name.
yeah,
They
and
are
the
group
name is
selected.
group select.
They are group selectors. You understand? So this one is different element. This one is different element. This one different element. So you're telling that all these different elements should, the background color should was, when you hover on them, all of the background color should turn to yellow. So when I expect the example, so when I come here, you see it's yellow, this is yellow, right? So whichever I hover on, the background color is going to be yellow. Now this is an example too that I was talking about. You see this one, instead of hover, we use one link. So this one is also another word, pseudo class that we use. It's also another pseudo class. This one meaning on visit link. This one is meaning visit link. This one is the hover, and this one is the active. So let's see the difference. So if you click on it, they give you the difference, right? Mouse over and click the link. So if I come closer to it, what will happen? The mouse hover will take effect, right? So now,
Yeah,
if this is what we call hover, which is this, where is the hover? So it means that this has taken place, hover, meaning the color should be red. So that's why when I come closer to it, the color is red. So this one has finished its own. Which one do we look at? This one is what? Green, right? Which is link. So it means that unvisited link. So when the link is not clicked or unvisited, the color is green. So this is what is green. That is the normal stage, right? But when the color is visited or when the link is clicked or visited, then the color changes to what? It's also the same as
yeah,
green, right? So initially it was green, and then when it is visited, it's still what green, as they wrote here. When you hover onto it, the color is red. And then when the link is active, right? When the link is clicked, when I click now, you see when I hover onto it's red. That is the hover effect here. But when I click on it, you see if you can remember, immediately I click on it, it means that time it is active. You understand? So when I click on it, you notice that the color changes to yellow before it open this.
yeah.
Let me go back for you to see it clearly. Now it is green, right? The link is green. When the link is visited, they set it to green, right? So let me change this green to maybe brown. So that when it is visited, you see now it turned to brown. Why did it turn to brown? Because I've already clicked it once. So it means that the link was, somebody clicked the link before. So the link become brown. You understand? But if the link wasn't clicked before, it should still be what? Be green. So let me go back and choose the same thing. And let's see if, let me make it the same brown and see if it's going to be. Yeah, because the thing is, immediately you click on it, it remembers your browser. You understand? Even if you go back and come back again, it will still continue because it's normally store all these things in the background. So it remembers that you've clicked this before. You understand?
Yeah.
So that is why it turns into brown. It means that link is visited. But when I hover onto it, it will turn to what? Red, like this. It is turned to red. And then when I click on it, this active means when you click on it, meaning it is active. So when you click on it, before it opens, it turns into yellow. So you just look at when I click on it, you see that it turns into yellow before it goes into the link. See, I'm going to click on it. Do you notice that?
Yeah.
So that is all what these things or these four pseudo classes means. They are normally used for the links. So always remember them. Link, visited, hover, active. To know the difference. Okay. So what else? These are the same thing. They are giving you hover, active. This one they are using what? The same thing to show and hide menu. So let's see what happened. You see, right? You can also use to achieve this, right? Look at the drop down link.
Yeah.
You see, it's part of the hover. You see, when I hover, this comes. So sometimes you see a website when you hover until you see something came down. So the same thing. So can apply in this way.
Mm.
Here too, when I click, what will happen? Nothing happen. Maybe they didn't apply anything. They say, okay, they say it's useless link. See, useless link. So this is useless link, which is A, right? Leave A and text decoration is none. So this they remove the text decoration. Color is white. Font size padding display in line block. So this link is nothing, doing nothing. Okay. So mostly that is about pseudo class on what on hover effect. And so if you want to learn more about the links too, they will give you an example. This is for link, and this for the main pseudo classes, all of the pseudo classes. So if you want to go and look at what are the pseudo class, you can click here, and then you see all the pseudo classes here. You see some of them are here, interactive pseudo classes. The one we did was hover. Understand when mouse is over on an element, focus, when an element has focus, active, when an element is being activated. So when I click on that link, you see it turns into yellow. So it means that when an
Yeah.
element is being activated, link is on visited link, and this visited is on visited links. So most of the time, these are very what useful. We also have some of this. The first child is also part of the pseudo classes. So I'll find time and then when we finish the course, I'll look at those elements or those properties that we've never covered. Then we take them one by one. Or maybe I'll gather them and then I'll just do one tutorial for you because they are also very important. Because when you see something like this, you already know that it is what a pseudo class because it has one word, one column and the keyword. But if you don't apply or if you don't know how to apply it on the element, it becomes difficult. But sometimes even the word itself explain what it does first child. You already know that if you have children inside an element, the first child is what we talk about here,
Mm.
right? So whatever you
Yeah.
apply, the CSS you apply will only affect what the first child. Because we have all the children, and here the last child, and here the nth child, meaning the child number. If it's the first one, you write 1. If it's the last one, you write 3 or 4, depending on how many children you have in the parent. Understand? But this one is also lang, also can be used element with a specific language. So that is also the pseudo class for you. Although they are part because you need this pseudo class before this hover effect can work. That is why this is important. You see here when you hover onto it. Okay, so that's all about hover effect, right? Okay, so if I may know, do you have any question?
No.
Okay, I think this one is easier, so you don't need anything. So let's move to transition.